MarineLorD versus Mista. We're kicking this series off on Himayama. MarineLorD is going to be in command of the Ottomans in red, and on the other side, Mista with Jeanne d'Arc in blue. Of course, KP, when you look at Mista, you always have to consider that he has limited time to practice. At the same time, he's got a lot of time to cook up new strategies.
Wait.
So a lot is going to come down to those strategy choices working or not working against MarineLorD here.
Well, we're going to see if this works. If I'm not mistaken, is this the Tower Rush build? No way.
Oh my lord.
This might be. I'm hoping it is. I've yet to see a player do this, but I theory crafted it. I'm glad Mista's there as well, because for those who don't know, Jeanne builds 33% faster. She rushes towers up. So if you build Spearman and then move her out, she can just spam those bad boys around the base. It might be that this is just about the fishing instead, but it's still very interesting that Jeanne d'Arc, he immediately opens with racks, which is not your standardized builds.
Interesting opening, especially against the Ottomans, who can make their own spearmen as well. But the ones from MarineLorD are coming from military school, so it takes some time until you actually get those spearmen out. Means that Mista should have the numerical advantage, but of course he has to pay full price for these spearmen as compared to the Ottomans, who are getting those for free.
I wonder if he was concerned about fishing, because the Ottomans do get the docks for 50 wood less, right? So that is a potential play. If this is just about like contesting the spears, it depends on the timing here. Like some Ottoman players are a little bit later on the gold, and we're now seeing a shift of 3 villages. So the time of the spear arriving, he could actually idle out MarineLorD for quite some time, which is important because if Mista's intent is now to only tech up with Jeanne, which you do that, by the way, so that she gets level 2 once you reach feudal, this is going to buy that time so that the tech difference isn't to your disadvantage.
I love the mind games here, KP. Here's the thing. When you look at the Ottomans on this map, facing off against any civilization, the opponent knows that the Ottomans can make Dark Age spearmen. They often give up on the pond and just kind of let the Ottomans take it, knowing that they cannot really fight it anyways. But what Mista is doing over here is saying, look, if you want to take that pond, you're going to have to fight for it. Turns out MarineLorD had no desire to take it. But now, with the spearmen out, MarineLorD's gold mine will be pressured over here. MarineLorD not having taken the pawn means that he's moving to gold early, so Mista is able to find a lot of targets over here.
Well, now, looks like the gold gathered is not going to be enough. MarineLorD just accepts it's not happening right here. So he's probably going to have to go back on the trees, and he's probably going to have to go through rats, which is not ideal in this situation, because it means that it should be very easy for Mista to reach feudal age quicker than you will now. Oh, wow.
Yeah, now one thing to keep in mind is that eventually MarineLorD is going to be able to slowly get the gold out he needs, but you see Mista is moving towards the gold himself now with Jeanne, and this is where we have to look at Himayama. This is a map where it's pretty difficult to get safe gold mines at. Even your starting gold mine is pretty far away, but your backup gold mines, first of all, you only have one of those instead of, let's say, 2 on Dry Arabia, and that secondary gold mine you have is very far away from the town center, so the same way that we've seen in the previous set on Gorge, how you can use early spearmen to shut down the gold income, you kind of can accomplish something similar here as well.
I am a little bit bummed out this wasn't the Tower Rush. Like Mista, admittedly, it's kind of like a Gambit all-in. Like, it either hits hard or it flops. But in this game, the way things played out, and we obviously have God Vision, so we have to understand that, this would have won. But obviously, from Mista's perspective, he was a bit paranoid. The racks may have came out sooner, and then Jeanne can't get the tower up. But this is still looking good, man. Just taking out the mining camp, that's 50 wood at a very early phase of the game. It's not much the MarineLorD can easily do to deny this. Can try to pull a villager now, but that's just going to be idle time, and I'm not even sure if it's going to be quick enough. Able to push him away just in time, but we're already seeing that difference we talked about. Mista now on the way to feudal age, and it is going to be the one builder build with Jeanne. Now, considering the longer Dark Age, he could actually build this with 2 villages, and Jeanne would still be ready for level 2 once he reaches feudal. But there we go. He shifts the second across. This should mean the moment that he techs up, Jeanne is ready to fight.
Yeah, this is still a really good start here for Mista, you feel. Oftentimes, when the Ottomans match up against the French, it's all about the Ottomans being able to pressure the French gold mine, delaying their feudal age. It's kind of the opposite. It's kind of the quite the opposite, actually, here for Mista. He was able to slow down the feudal age of the Ottomans. He's probably going to beat MarineLorD to feudal here. And it also means that his own feudal age was very safe and secure. He wasn't cut off from the gold, and he will be able to afford knights as he's reaching feudal age.
Let's see if MarineLorD panic reacts. He's only gone for 4 villages. Realistically, if you want to catch up now, it has to be 6. Otherwise, you're going to see Jeanne plus the first knight hit the field. And because they've got the spears that you built into, they're kind of dead weight now. Like, you think they're good against the knights, but this is someone that Jeanne can chase down because she moves quicker than them. So keep an eye out for that. We are getting closer. Mr. just realized the XP search he's been getting, he can afford 3 villages now. So you notice he's trying to get that fine timing where you reach the base, Jean upgrades, and then you chase back across the field. But it looks like MarineLorD is not willing to buy. I think he did take out a wolf, so that's 12 XP removed from Jean.
Yeah, feudal age timings will be fairly close between the two players here. And look at what MarineLorD is doing already. He's scared about those knights coming in. He's rolling off his southern flank already.
Yep, nice little thing you can do these days. Honestly, like, some people don't like these wall changes. I think it was actually one of the best changes they've made in a long time. Like, it's still a little bit buggy. We've seen some weird walls in the past, but I actually like that we have this cool mid-ground between what like StarCraft and Age of Empires 2 have with walling, with buildings, and what we have, right? Where now there's kind of this flexy degree with resource banks. And oh, look who's arrived! I told you it was going to be too slow on the build-up. She's literally already level 2 before they reach feudal. Oh, man. And
now boars are out there, and it's not like MarineLorD is contesting them. So this is a prime opportunity for Mista to take the boars, get the extra XP there for Jean. And behind this, notice how Mista isn't even queuing up a knight at this point. Just wheelbarrow coming in a little delayed compared to the usual timing.
Yeah,
but it looks like he might go heavy on the archers and not mix in any knights at this point.
It makes sense because MarineLorD's playing a blind game right now. That scout is out there, but he hasn't checked the base at the moment. So we'll move to Pumbaa. I was a little bit surprised Mista didn't take Pumbaa to the south first because it was close to him. Jean can take out a boar on her own. She'll probably be down to about half HP, but she has passive regen out of combat. A substantial amount, in fact. I think it's 1.5 in level 2. So she would actually heal up pretty quickly. Not to mention she has Divine Restoration for when you find yourself in a pickle and need 30% HP instantly.
Yeah, double range is coming in here for Mista.
Oh,
He's got no desire to play cavalry. And I think MarineLorD now spotted this. And it looks like Mista might play this very old-school English-esque build of just spearmen archers here. Somewhat unconventional with the French, I must say.
I quite like it because now with the savings compared to getting knights, you can afford to go blacksmith and get siege engineering. So these outposts won't defend anymore. It's a really cool read. Also important, you do get blacksmiths because of the undermesh, because these static defenses. Like, you just saw how much damage Jean took from being under tower for a few seconds. She'll heal it off, sure, but it does mean she can't commit to dives.
Yeah, MarineLorD will catch the two ranges, though, so now he knows he's going to face mass archers. He doesn't have a single archer himself, though.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, like, MLord, he's just going Castle Age, right? I think he knows what's happening here, is like, if this turns into, like, a prolonged engagement, Jean's going to crack level 3. And if you're still in feudal when she hits 3, the game's already over. So I quite like that MarineLorD isn't engaging with this age. There's nothing left on the map for him at this stage. The best thing he can hope for is a clean Castle Age.
Yeah, I like this approach too. I feel like he realistically doesn't have a lot of time to build up mass archers to deal with this. He's actually going to benefit a lot more from just going into Castle Age and going straight men-at-arms.
Men-at-arms here, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like, you're still going to have that threat companions coming out the other side. I think, given his position, maybe even crossbows is nicer because you just have someone that can't be, like, gap closed. I think, like, what's important for MarineLorD is try to minimize losses at the opening Castle Age. Otherwise, it's just XP farming for Mista, right? And if he doesn't have that level 3 by the time you reach Castle Age, throwing away units in a silly fashion will guarantee he will.
Yeah, MarineLorD, if he goes up with the armory, he's going to start getting towards mangonels as well, which can help with the defense. But he's a little slow getting there. You see, he hasn't yet started building his landmarking. In fact, he's a little still low on gold. And this is giving a prime opportunity for Mista over here. He does have a respectable army to work with.
And Scout sees it all coming, so he knows what the comp is. There it is, Mehmed Imperial Armory starting to be built. 12 villages working on it. Notice that he actually drops it on the west-south side of his base. That's going to mean that where Jean is furthest away comparatively. So not easy to dive in here. In fact, he's going to have to skirt further around. So Mista not really getting what he was looking for in the end. I have to reset and think again. He's nowhere near Castle Age himself, so kind of stuck with your hand dealt at this stage. XP-wise, I wouldn't be surprised if we're only like halfway there at this point.
Yeah, that one defensive tower that MarineLorD has on the gold mine is just throwing a wrench in the plans of Mista right now. This tower is hard to push right now without siege weapons, and MarineLorD is getting away with all that gold. If the tower wasn't there, the game plan for Mista would be clear. You hit the gold mine and you prevent MarineLorD from making premium Castle Age units. Granted, Mista was able to shut down the wood line from MarineLorD, but I don't think that in and of itself it's enough.
And keep in mind also, because he's going archers, in some ways this is the weakest use of consecration. Consecration gives you a 25% discount on food. You don't get the discount on wood and gold cost until you get castle age. He's consecrating the archer ranges. It's not saving much, right? You're getting 25% off of 30 food. So
It
realistically,
ain't much, but it's honest work.
yeah, but is it going to be good enough work is my concern. The men-at-arms are coming. He's starting to torch through the buildings to try and minimize that count. But the reality of what's happening here is, you know, he's only just got the undermesh.
Oh,
This has been
the
heavily
spearman upgrade
delayed.
is actually on that barracks.
Oops.
The upgrade from MarineLorD gets cancelled as the barracks gets taken out.
He could do it on the second one, though. Like, the issue with this is it's a good start for Mista, but he's not ready to dive. He really needs siege engineering if he wants to make this happen, but the problem is now, by the time you'd have siege engineering, it's probably going to be like 6 men-at-arms plus. It's very hard to defend that, right? It's very hard to stay with that ram when all you have is 11 spears.
Yeah, and there's a meta out there as well for MarineLorD, something that's going to help immensely in these engagements. Looks like the men-at-arms are just heading towards the base of Mista here, either to cut off reinforcements, or straight up just push these villagers on these exposed berries.
He has the undermesh, right? So, like, he's negating any extra damage to take from the TC. These are very bulky boys. And Mista, the reality of what's happening here is, like, there's no attempt to reach up, right? Like, look at the resources. There's no real hold here. Gold is at least scaling, but the issue they now have is they have to start playing pocket economies when their opponent has men-at-arms slugging the field. So you just can't do that. So what's your backup plan? Farms? At 11 minutes is the French. I'd rather just re-roll myself.
Well, fight here with the men-at-arms. Mind you, not a single unit in this game has been killed so far. 0 destroy value for both of these players. These are going to be the first casualties in this game at the 12-minute mark, man. That is just... I don't even have words for this. That just goes to show how careful both of these players were with the micro of the Spearman in Dark Age.
I mean, that's Bravo 6 Joe in Dark for you, right? Like, you just want to be missing. You don't want anyone to find you on the map, because if she does, you're going to get assassinated. Men-at-arms so far getting good exchanges. That's at least going to be some XP in the pocket of Mista. He'll take everything he can get right now, because the only thing he's being thrown so far is scraps.
Clock is ticking, though, very badly for him. In fact, he was delayed so much with this push that MarineLorD was given an opportunity to get the first mangonel out of the armory. And now, even with battering grams, Mista would struggle to push this. That mangonel being tucked away in a choke point is near impossible for Mista to take out right now.
That's my worry. Like, just 7 men-at-arms is enough to hold this. And your army is 2/3 countered by mangonel. Like, if that second mangonel comes out before Mista does something, it's kind of already over. So it is critical that he gets up to Castle Age soon, or gets level 3 Jean at least.
He's looking to do some damage over here, but despite all this pressure on MarineLorD's eco, he has not lost a villager, but Mista does take a big beating on his archers, now facing a Castle Age army with a feudal age force of his own. Does have the numbers advantage still, but he's facing men-at-arms, units that he does not have an answer to.
I don't think Emlon's even going to come out. Like, I legit think he's just going to sit here. I'm trying to think, like, food-wise, is he going to run out? I mean, he's got the Madrasa, right? It's that kind of pad you a little. It would be nice to get more relics. He's got 2 so far. Because what I'm thinking is, like, could you just be ultra greedy here? I don't think you want to wait for Imperial, because you have to know that if you stay at home, Mista stays at home. And if he stays at home, it's going to be the Guild Hall.
Yeah, frankly, the fact that MarineLorD isn't coming out of his base is a saving grace for Mista, especially when you consider how exposed this landmark is being built. Oh my lord, that could easily be a GG type landmark if MarineLorD decided to attack. But with MarineLorD playing very defensive, Mista is given a chance to get to Castle Age and get some arballetry going, which can deal with the men-at-arms.
Did someone say free XP? I mean, it's not entirely free, but we'll take it. Like, right now, at this point, Mista, this is like his ice cream fell on the ground, and he's going to get down and lick it. Like, he'll take any XP he can find. Just needs that level 3 with that tech up to be able to contest it all. There's no denying, MarineLorD's been here for a while, and we know when it comes to the Ottomans, that passive production really starts to kick in once you reach that Castle Age.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem for Mista. He does not have any kind of eco lead, but even if he did, the Ottoman passive production offsets a lot of that. So sustainability is by no means on the side of Mista. He's going to be facing up against 3 relics with 0 right now available to him. In fact, MarineLorD yoinked the relic to the north. There was a relic to the far north, and I think the Imam taking relic is kind of sneaking past at the edge of the map as this fight is unfolding.
Meanwhile, XP farm continues. Jean in the wrong position though. Magano, sick dodge there by Mista. Spearman could just swarm this right now. They kind of need to. The Manga remains in play. It's just going to be a wipe of the army. So gets around the backside. Jean on the side of the cleave on the men-at-arms. That's heavy damage going in. Extra XP as well. Divine Restoration used to keep that healthy front line going. And looks like he should be able to hold MarineLorD at bay for now. It's still a lot of men-at-arms to get through. But as you said, Arbitrary switch is coming in. And the upgrade on Jean is in. Immediate panic hits as MarineLorD turns and burns.
And this fight was taken with Mista not having the Castle Age upgrade on the archers, nor the spearmen. This is a feudal age army pushing this back, and now you have Jean here. MarineLorD still has the majority of the relics over here, also expanding towards a second DC. But one thing that he doesn't really have right now is a quick way to produce units, and looks like he's being outnumbered very heavily here.
All right. That's going to reset things. Mista has to slow down, but militarily, he is ahead. Mangonel's being lost as price at this stage for MarineLorD. He is at least going to have 4 relics soon. But Mista, now having that level 3, it's the thing he's been waiting a long time for. Realistically, just getting a few Arbitrary and continue to scale archers could be good for him, but this is going to be bad. MarineLorD has gone for a second TC. Mista's yet to mirror something similar.
Yeah, Mista does have the board, though, that he's taking right now. He's got a decent source of food set up, and he does have the guild hall as well. But indeed, sustainability is just not on the side of Mista over here. No relics right now for him. He's outnumbered 2-1 when it comes to the town center count. And of course, MarineLorD also does have that passive production. Allows him to go up to 24 men-at-arms now.
Well, we are now going to see the men-at-arms switch for Jean. I really like this, by the way. Jean is most effective when used with high effective HP units. What I mean by that is either units that have big raw health pools or ones that have a lot of armor and decent sized health pools, because Divine Restoration is based on lost HP. You'll heal 30% of what you've lost. I think quite often, I remember especially in the early days, a lot of pros would pop it at 30% lost HP. That's not how that works. You'd be getting 30% of the 30% you lost. So it's best used when you've got units on death's bed at like 10%. Men-at-arms with all the upgrades, Gambesons on Arbitrary, these are units that will skirt that line.
Men-at-arms finding the villagers over here on the flank. Mista does have a lot of troops nearby, so he should have no trouble dealing with this. But again, his expansion seems a little slow here. He has gotten the Sacred Site, he has gotten the final relic on the map, but still just 1 DC. I'm actually wondering what the guild hall is set up to. I would think it's either gold or food.
Please be stone. Please be stone. Please
it's not.
Food. It needs to be stone. Stone is such a big deal. It allows you to get into the better men-at-arms, Jean's champions, which are, no joke, when they're near Jean, they get extra armor and extra damage.
And we only have 3 of those champions right now.
Yeah.
Second layer of armor coming in here from Mista, something that MarineLorD also has already. MarineLorD just seems to have this considerable tech advantage, and kind of an eco advantage as well when you consider all the free units that he's getting. And I feel like the delay that Mista is suffering from here is just going to make MarineLorD's position stronger and stronger as the game goes on.
And I'm still being annoyed on the backside, I'm getting cleaned up. Can we just talk about Jean's ability to just birth 3 men in the middle of a battle? Like, that's some rapid growth production right there. Like, congratulations, they're triplets. Day later, they've got swords in their hands. It's a really powerful element of her play, especially considering she's a cavalry unit, because it just allows her to get into weird positions, and then drop these 3 heavily armored units. That, by the way, is the big reason why a lot of people have been calling GG the moment they see level 3 when they're still in feudal. But when you get this deep, it's kind of a little shrug. It's not the biggest of deals. But these fights can be a big deal. There's a lot of XP that can be hemorrhaged one way or the other, and Janissaries versus Arbitrary is a bit dicey, so it's kind of important that MarineLorD keeps siege advantage. Mista's yet to try and contest that.
Yeah, Janissaries have been mixed in large quantities now. You have 11 of those. A lot of arbitrary for Mista, but it looks like we're going to have a fight coming in here. Men-at-Arms trying to flank the Mangonels, but really...
Jean, she's going for the Mango. If she gets in on the Mango and the Janissaries, it's a lot of cleave damage with the spears! Oh no, that's not what you wanted. Divine Restoration comes through, she doesn't get the good cleave, and instead she gets cleaned up. Good strike there by MarineLorD, offsetting the reduced range damage with a unit that gets bonus versus Cav. This frontline fight is holding. Mista in a bit of a bind. He's still got a decent amount of archer units, but no men-at-arms to snipe the Mangos. Means this is going to be a wipe and a retreat.
Oh man, we got what we expected here, I feel. Just too much of a wait here for Mista. He invested very heavily into that feudal age push that never came. And now MarineLorD does have that compositional advantage. And the Janissaries, they just made minced meat out of Jean. Mangonels still alive with no tools for Mista to deal with those.
Yeah, and now, like, look at his gold as well. Like, rebuying Jean, not really an option right now, as he needs more Oblitré, more men-at-arms. He's struggling. There's men-at-arms on the backside, no longer really being addressed because you just don't have the stretch to send troops in different locations. So Jean's back in action for the time being. That's definitely a buyback, which means no buyback for another 2 minutes. If MarineLorD pushes now and gets rid of Jean again, she's removed from all the fights that matter here. In fact, it looks like everything that matters has already been kind of decided, right? Like at this stage, eco advantage to MarineLorD, then passive production as well. Military also has quality as well as quantity. And I'm not really sure what Mista's meant to build that recovers this. Unless he can find the gold and wood to get 2 or 3 Stringolds, I don't see how he takes these fights.
163 population against 111 here. That is just looking very grim for the French player. Especially when you also account for the meta on the front line. And same thing again. Jean just gets picked off instantly by those Janissaries.
But
instant repeat, I feel, from the previous fight.
But she almost killed a Mangonel, right? Okay, that's half of the Hopium hard. I think that is the dying throw of a man who knows it's the end of the road. He's going to try to dive in deep with the Arbitraire. He's doing good on the micro, but the reality is there's just too many Janissaries left here. I mean, even if you reset after this, you know the eco's booming harder for the Ottomans, and you know you no longer have Jean for at least another minute. So kind of hard to see a world in which this goes well, and also the men-at-arms are still going back there. It's... Okay, do you think that Mista's most hated Disney movie is by any chance WALL-E? Because it seems like anything with walls in it, he's not interested in. He hated that
he's
joke
also
so much
not interested in game number 1 here, folks. He tried feudal age aggression, and honestly, the setup, the Dark Age part of that aggression was very good. Kind of threw off the build of MarineLorD a little, but then there was just no response to this fast castle age from MarineLorD. He couldn't break that defense in any way, and then this Ottoman slow build-up of forces is something that eventually steamrolled his Jeanne d'Arc build. MarineLorD takes game number 1 over here in a confident fashion, just shows why he's one of the favorites when it comes to candidates winning this tournament.
Yeah, this is the methodical approach a lot of players are engaging with right now to counter Jean, which is just to not actually deal with her at all. You highlight it really well that one single outpost just kind of blocked out everything you could do. I mean, essentially, this whole strategy of Mista looks so good, but it got blocked by a single outpost. I still wonder if he could have just went for the outpost rush himself with Jean and how different the game might have looked. But those are, ifs and buts. If they were cookie and nuts, I'd have diabetes in times of Christmas. So instead, we just move on. It is a best of 5. There is still plenty of time for Mista to strike. We do also have to keep in mind that Mista is not 100%. He said he actually tested positive for COVID like 2 days ago, so maybe feeling a bit rough there. But what I'm glad to see is despite that roughness, we're still seeing the creativity that we've come to know and love him for.
Yeah, honestly, just looking at this one and knowing how Mista is somewhat limited on time when it comes to preparation, him not being a full-time player, I definitely feel this mindset where he just says, look, we have these brand new civilizations. I will try something cheeky and something unexpected with them and see if I can upset your good old classic civilizations. That has been the theme for game number 1, and it seems to be the case for game number 2 as well. Heading to Hidden Valley, MarineLorD once again picks an old school classic civilization, the Abbasids. On the other side, Mista opts to go for the Byzantines.
It's really crafty what MarineLorD is doing here. So part of this is hiding strats, right? There's definitely an element of it. But more importantly than that, it's not just MarineLorD being a little bit too protective of his ideas. It's that he knows all these new civs have not been figured out. Regardless of what you see on a Drongo video, on a BC video, whoever it is saying, I figured it out, they figured something out. But the whole picture is still not painted yet. What MarineLorD is doing by playing standard civs is he's doing something that has been figured out. The patch didn't really change much about the existing civs. We know how they function. It's going to be a bit of a discovery to figure out how they function against new civs, but you're already further along that path than someone who's starting from 0, right? Excuse me. It's pretty crafty in that regard, what MarineLorD is doing here. Curious to see how this one's going to function. Hidden Valley is an interesting map. Mista, by the way, on Byzantines, really hoping that he's going to go for that aggro build. I think he's one of the few players I've frequently seen do Hippodrome, and I genuinely think Hippodrome is the answer to the Civ, if there is one, not the Grand Winery.
Interesting that you bring this up, because I was just about to say that on this map, Hidden Valley specifically, a map where the Abbasids might play very slow, condensed, and multi-TC, I can see a world where the Byzantine 2TC fast castle build becomes legitimate. And that is something that you can do very well if you use the Vinery and sell your olive oil. Then you can tech into Cataphracts, and with the Cistern of the First Hill, you can get that passive health regeneration um, for the cataphracts, something that then you can use to raid the Abbasids. Now, do I think it's going to 100% work against the Abbasids of MarineLorD? Absolutely not. I think MarineLorD, he has shown that he's quick to react to moves that Mista is making with those civilizations.
Yeah.
But I feel like that could be an intriguing avenue for Mista to explore.
So what's interesting to think about on this map is like this map inherently leans towards Grand Winery because it's so defensive. It feels like it's hard to do things with Cav. But I think if you're up against multi-TC booming civs, of which, oh, will you look at that, a multi-TC booming civ, the Abbasids. That's where it can be cool because of the Expilatoras that gives you extra damage versus workers and also pays you to kill them. So I wouldn't be against him doing that type of play, even if it's just to build like 2 or 3 horsemen, force a reaction, then go greedy himself, which I think the Byzantines naturally want to do a lot. Another option which could turn up, not as likely, but could, is this map does have trade. And there have been some very interesting trade builds attempted. I think Faye especially comes to mind where she was doing some wacky crap off the bat where she was immediately going trade, which if you boost the production rate up with assistance, insane how fast that inflates. And you have to remember the Abbasids isn't necessarily a civ that wants to come and fight you early on. But we'll have to see if they're willing to fight this time. It's time for game number 2. MarineLorD living up to that 5 out of 10 with creativity as he makes it now 2 old civs picked in a row, while Mista living up to that 10 out of 10 as it's 2 new civs picked in a row.
He definitely is coming in to try and surprise his opponent over here in many ways. And we are going to potentially see a second installment of that going into Hidden Valley here. Mista coming in with the color blue as the Byzantines. On the other side, MarineLorD with the 1-0 lead with the color red using the Abbasids. Now, one thing we haven't touched on, KP, with these two players is the third player that's in their group. That is Louis MT. In many ways, a rising star and a very unpredictable and dangerous player. So, with only 2 players advancing from each of these 3-member groups, winning sets is essential, but so is winning games in case this becomes a tie and you are going to have to rely on those games as your tiebreaker.
Yeah, and Louis has some really scary civs he uses. Chinese comes to mind. Zhuji's is going to be like a knock-on effect because of that. I think he's been pretty impressive the way he plays Ottomans as well. Little kind of like foresight on his series. I wouldn't be surprised if players ban Chinese and Zhuji's legacy against him. I know Chinese isn't the most popular pick and competitive right now, especially with its big brother Zhuji just being better. But Louis is built different with that civ. So excited to see him as the days go on. I'm sure we'll get a chance to feature him here on the main broadcast. And I actually think he could be an outside runner to make a deep run. He's definitely been improving constantly throughout the year. But for now, we have 2 people who've already flexed and proven themselves some of the greatest, right? These are the 2 players that were in the grand final of Red Bull Wololo. Do we really need to say much more? This game, however, we're talking about a matchup between, in my opinion, a civ that is on par with Roos in terms of power and flexibility versus a civ that's role-playing their real-life existence in the 14th century.
Mista is on stone to start the game with. Now, one thing that could have been very wacky from Mista, especially based on how aggressive he played the previous game, could have been the crazy Cistern Tower Rush. I've actually seen an installment of that. I think it was Fitzbro who has shown this, that you can actually just play very aggressive, place a Cistern, and then you can use the ability on the Cistern to get some extra melee armor for your villagers, which you can then use the Tower Rush with. That's not something that Mista is doing over here, unfortunately, but he's collecting a lot of stone.
Yeah, it's quite the gamble play though, right? Like for a start,
Of course
you
it
need
is.
to. The thing about that play as well is you literally have to scout the correct side of your opponent's base. Like, well, not scout, you have to guess, right? You literally have to guess. This is one of the weird things that I haven't been a big fan of with Hidden Valley. Is Hidden Valley is literally if you commit down the wrong side of the map, you just feel like you've kind of lost, right? Because if they've walled it or their resource on the other side, your targets are limited. So I think this is the type of map that as the meta settles, people will try to find an aggressive point, but it won't be in the first 2 or 3 minutes. It'll be after scouting has been done and you've got to lay of the lands. And, oh, look, it's going to be a Grand Winery. I'm going to go get drunk.
Now, with the Grand Vinery, you have a lot of options over here. I'm just looking at Mista right now. He's still mining stone. Could be for additional cisterns, but again, just looking at how much stone he's going to have upon reaching Feudal Age, it feels like he's lining this up to be a 2 TC build, which Makes me wonder what exactly he wants to do with his olive oil. I think if he's playing 2 TCs, we won't really see olive oil being used on early mercenaries, but I might be wrong. Maybe he's thinking something about Kashyyyk, for instance.
I'm a bit worried about the timing on this, because if I'm not mistaken, Mista's not really got many people on wood, so I hope that gets adjusted. Because if he's a bit slow to gather the wood, with a military wing, MarineLorD, you see that gap between the TC and the cliff? Mista's the type of player that quite often likes to drop the TC on the wood line. If he does that, MarineLorD could get his units in there in time to just block it.
Yeah, that could be a nasty, nasty position for him to be in. And I've actually seen this from Mista in a 2v2 game he has played alongside Recon against Lash and Puppypaw. It was the same story, 2 TC build from the Byzantines. And he had the same issues there. He actually faced an Ayubit player, but the story is the same. You had troops there by the time he started building his TC, and he actually lost a lot of villagers doing so. Now, MarineLorD is actually moving in from the side, opposing the hunt. So if Mista wants to expand towards the hunt, he should be able to get that DC up in time. But still, he needs to be very cautious about that early game aggression, as you said.
Yeah, and the wonky part about this is like, because the timing, MarineLorD already scouted what the Grand Winery is. So you kind of just built a Grand Winery and you can't use it, right? Like, this is one of the other things that can feel really awkward with Grand Winery is I feel like because of where you have to put it on the berries, it paints a target on you. So the TC is at least going to get in a good position on the deer, but that does mean that whole idea of having extra olive oil isn't going to exist, right? Like it's not going to inflate because you need to be gathering off of berries, olive groves, or fish.
Yeah, that's a problem because basically if you don't use the berries around the winery, then this landmark is near useless for you right now. Sure enough, you will have your 2 TCs. For the time being, I would not be very worried for Mista, though. This is not a terrifying force he's facing. He could just open with the range himself, deal with these guys, and then get back on the berries. But one thing is sure, he's definitely being delayed when it comes to gathering olive oil.
Yeah, it means that, like, and this is the other thing, if you have to go archers, then that means you're definitely going Kashyyks, and I'm not sure if you want to be going Kashyyks here, per se. It's not terrible, but it's a hard base to raid into, right? It's nice to have that flexibility to make the choice off your own actions, but if you're forced to go archery range here, you kind of just pigeonholed to a certain degree. You know what would be wild is imagine if MarineLorD had just built a ram right there. I mean, it's not going to happen, but my brain was like, if he really wanted to screw with him, of course, it's going to be the second TC back at home. Should just be 2 TC here. Wouldn't be surprised if he tries for a third, but I think with the military wing, it's more common to go 2 TC into Fast Castle, especially considering that one big issue of this map that I do take is with how safe your initial resources are, it's very hard to close out a game before Castle Age is on the horizon.
And that's why I'm liking what Mista is doing. 2 TCs, a second Cistern on the way as well. He's going to have a very condensed base. He's going to leverage the Cistern buff as well. And once he gets his berries, he's going to have a lot of olive oil that he can turn into essentially whatever he wants. I still think that, as you said, because you can't really close games before Castle Age, selling olive oil to expedite his Castle Age, especially against a civilization that takes a long time to get the castle, that being the Abbasids, could actually be a great way of playing this.
Yeah, it's just I hope he doesn't invest too hard into archers, because then you're like going Castle Age and you have this unit you kind of want to just throw away, right? So we'll see how he wants to play. It looks like it's going to be that free TC build we mentioned could happen from MarineLorD. I imagine that third TC is going to be dropped on the wood line, and he's just going to play a very condensed style, as we often see out of Greedy Civs here. The issue with this map, by the way, is the way it's designed is it doesn't actually encourage you to come out in the mid game, if that makes sense. Like, if you wanted to drop a TC, and you were starting in this location, where would you drop a second TC, but more or less on the same screen, right? Because if you wanted to drop on different wood lines, you'd have to run out to the corners. If you wanted to drop it on deer, you'd have to run all the way out to the corners. If you wanted to drop it on boars, you'd have to run all the way out to the corners. And we look at that. MarineLorD is running all the way out to the corner.
Yeah, it's going to be on his hunt over there. It's also close to the boar, but with the Abbasids, that's not a factor to consider. And there it is. The moment the spearmen and the archers get pushed away, Mist is going to move on to the olive oil. He's actually getting mercenary contracts over here. So it looks like he wants to play into some mercenaries here.
Yeah, so he didn't go for Western, right? That's the, I think that's the Silk Road initiative, if I'm not mistaken. Or is that
I think that's the Eastern icon.
Yeah, Eastern. There we go, Silk Road. Boom. It's javelins. Okay. Damn, I know my icons. Javelins plus archers is just like begging to be smacked by cavalry, actually. This is an interesting build, but I think it's because Mista wants to full and tow.
I don't know what to think about this. I feel like a couple of javelins could be great just to harass, but it's not really that decisive force that you can push your enemy with. I'm surprised, but I'm curious about what Mista is cooking up for the time being. He's not on gold, so he's not going to get to Castle Age anytime soon, whereas MarineLorD has kept a couple of villagers on gold, now has 3 TCs working as well. I feel like Mista isn't going to rush Castle Age here by any means. In fact, he's not mixing in some Limitani. Could we see a wood denial game here, KP? Because one thing that Mista could deny from MarineLorD is easily the wood. He takes that hilltop position that he has that scout on, and he can harass those villagers in the valley with javelin throwers and archers.
Yeah, so it is interesting, the idea of javelins hulling on that low ground, and he hasn't put TC there as well. He has essentially got no defense in that area. This is starting to feel like Mista's going for something that players experimented with a lot when they first got hands-on with the Byzantines, which was Kairos Siphon play. Everything about this is screaming feudal all in. I know he went 2 TCs, it's like, well, that sounds like length. I know he went Grand Winery, so that sounds like height. But seeing Jav, Archer, and then the Limitane, everything is leaning towards him trying to close this game out before MarineLorD is able to reach Castle Age. And I wonder if he scouted that third TC, because if he has, it's just dead weight, right? The other interesting thing is these javelins have enough range that they can just harass villagers and never have to worry about return fire.
Yeah, Mista is now very heavy on gold. He's starting to pile up some resources potentially for Castle Age. Also moving out towards additional berry patches, walling his base off. He's converging upon those lumberjacks, I feel, but he might spot the town center as a essential side effect. He might have seen this before, even.
This play, by the way, I think it only works because he has deer. Limitane is kind of weird in that I think they're very strong in like mid-late game, but early on in the game, they're insanely expensive. They cost so much food. They only cost 10 wood, but the rest of the cost is in food, so I think it's 80 food. And that's a substantial amount in the early game. Like, I've seen players try to spam Limitane, and they just run out of food. They'd have no sheep left, and they're just desperately running out of their base. So Mista has been able to do this because of those deer, and I think it could work out here. He needs to go for that third TC, though. I don't think you can just try to block wood. If you try to block wood here, MarineLord's going to sit comfy, and he's going to get the horseman counter together.
Yeah, in fact, MarineLorD is up to 6 horsemen now. Looks like Mista might try to just sneak in here. He's thinking twice about it, seeing the horsemen, but MarineLorD is up to 9 archers, 7 horsemen. Army value is neck and neck, but this composition, it's getting better for MarineLorD, and Mista is kind of being left behind here when it comes to army quality.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the javelins to counter out those mass archers yet, right? Like, it's only 4. It's scaling, but it's slow. Wheelbarrow only just came in, by the way. The reason that matters is, like, it's very important he got that timing because look at all the woodworkers he's moving across. The timing could not have been more perfect than that. If he waited any longer to get Wheelbarrow coming in, he was going to be super suboptimal. That's why usually Mista likes to put a second TC on the wood line so that he doesn't have to move his economy around as much, so he can delay Wheelbarrow for longer.
His right flank is now secured with walls, so the only place where MarineLorD can aggress from is the left flank. Mista can kind of focus his attention in that direction. He's got a slow-moving army, so he needs to funnel enemies towards choke points. Otherwise, MarineLorD is just going to exploit that mobility advantage he has with the horsemen.
I really want to praise Mista for his opening of Byzantines. This is very different to what I'm seeing from a lot of players. Like, the play into proper feudal aggression is cool. The other thing that's really important here, he's got blacksmiths. I've lost count of the amount of games I've watched Byzantine players completely skip blacksmith until Castle Age. This is crazy. You're playing a civ that's able to increase the research speed via Dialecticus on your systems. You should be playing blacksmiths. This now gives him the undermesh to commit to a dive like this. And with this many Limitanes, remember that there's no fire armor on this TC. Realistically, he could start burning this down.
Yeah, for now, MarineLorD is reluctant to engage this, but he's got 27 archers now, heavily outnumbering his opponent here. 15 horsemen as well. And MarineLorD is now posturing the horsemen such that he intercepts reinforcements. MarineLorD is getting ready for a fight here. He's now picking up reinforcements, or he soon will. And then he's going to use the archers to clean this up. I feel like Mista could be in trouble here.
Pretty much the whole army on both sides are here, right? So it's a raw military mass lead from MarineLorD. A lot of archers, though. Javelins could counter that out, but it's critical you don't lose the Limitane. Shield wall needs to be up. That's going to mitigate the bonus damage the archers get. Trays begin. There's a lot of bloody horsemen, though. And my worry here is that Limitane count, that's definitely not all of them. There's some being held in reserve. If he's not careful, they're going to get cleared up. Archer count is down to 28 from MarineLorD. And if this Limitane count goes down to about 3, those horsemen are just going to dive. And there it is. That's the point to contest. MarineLorD sees the flood through. And that's going to be a whole army loss. Mista completely caught out of position, and MarineLorD now likely to have a 2-to-1 military advantage.
I have a deja vu to the previous game, KP. Same thing, infantry-heavy composition for Mista. He was the first aggressor as well, but he never really found an angle to punish MarineLorD from, and he allowed MarineLorD to build up his forces and then take one decisive engagement. We now have the same storyline here as well. MarineLorD has the eco lead, MarineLorD has the army lead after that decisive fight, and Mista is struggling to get anything going in this game now.
I have a deja vu too. Do you know what it is?
Nope.
Byzantines losing. Yeah, I'm seeing that a lot these days. And I'm not sure if Mista's got the answer anymore. Look at his food. He's got the gold ready for a tech up, but nothing else. He's kind of stuck right now, right? Limitanes are really good at holding this many archers, though, so it's good that MarineLorD's got a second wave coming in, because the issue is, as I said, all your bonus damage is not going through. When Limitane use the shield wall, they get minus 50% range damage received.
Now, one thing that Mista has been doing behind this is a switch into olive groves. So his food eco is going to be a lot more sustainable, and he does have a good influx of olive oil as well. Whereas MarineLorD is still very heavily reliant on berries and hunt, and he's just now making a switch to farms. So this gives a little breathing room here for Mista. And of course, the fact that Mista has all of his eco condensed means that he can leverage the cisterns very well as well. So it looks like Mista is going to live to see another day here. But I think he needs a long game here to have any kind of a chance. And I think it's worrisome for him that his villager count is down by 17 compared to MarineLorD.
Yeah, army-wise, they're actually quite similar. Something to always keep in mind is olive oil doesn't track in capture age. It would be nice if we could get some devs on that. So, like, army-wise, I'm pretty sure Mista's ahead because those jabs are worth 120 each, right? So, like, he actually has more value. The problem is that's not going to matter when you're an age behind. Culture Wing's on the way. Interesting choice, but makes sense for MarineLorD. He already got his TC set up, right? So Eco Wing's worthless. He's already got most of his farms, so Eco Wing is worthless. So naturally, Culture Wing's going to give more payday with the preservation of knowledge tech. So cool read there. Mista, not going to skip a beat, though. Already on his way up as well. Golden Horn's house are going to be getting access to additional mercenaries. He has been building a very long cistern line out to that corner. I imagine, I didn't check when we last looked, I think he's at level 5 on the cisterns. So that's important because it means you can use Dialecticus to rapid unlock the veterancies. And that's going to be critical
tier
to holding
5
this.
KP.
Mm-hmm.
That's no pushover.
So that's
tier 5 on cisterns.
Extra. Yeah.
And then you have the Golden Horn Tower. Another side note is that he's got a lot of stone in the bank as well. So he's going to be able to afford some static defenses upon reaching Castle Age.
Mangonel towers are no joke, by the way. Against mass archers especially, they will annihilate that. So if he gets 1 or 2 outposts prematurely up on that flank, which is the only place that's being really contested. That being said, though, Ram breaks through, and that's just 5 archers, but 5 archers is really all it takes. These villages completely undefended. He's going to have to be ready with the Akratoy, but even then, getting on top of those archers is an entirely different matter.
Mista's army is slow-moving. It takes some time to get here. Looks like he didn't really notice this ram breaking through because he's got nothing helping out, and these archers are inflicting a lot more damage than they are supposed to.
Yeah, it's also the denial of food at the beginning of a tech up. So, like, Mista's probably going to lose, I want to say, effectively 300, 400 of his food income. And that's going to be more of a pivot required. So he's going to have to stress the wood line more, get more farms up around that Grand Winery just to try and stay afloat. Well, that's effective. And that's why you don't do the Fitzborough Rush strategy you were talking about. All of a sudden, I've lost a level. And unless I delete the cistern, that's going to be very expensive to build one elsewhere.
Yeah, Mista's still not addressing these archers over here. He's got some Limitani coming in, but this is definitely inflicting a lot more damage than it's supposed to. And it makes me wonder what exactly MarineLorD is thinking about. Look at those resources being piled up. Could we see Imperial here, KP?
Oh my god, I think
we will.
It's not just Imperial, we're going to see trade. Look at where the neutral trade post is and look at where his walls. MarineLorD's getting cozy, man. He's like, okay, I'm curious as well. Let's do a little litmus test. What can the Byzantines do if I give them time?
All right, well, Mista's going to get back to his resources, but he's down by 30 eco now. Definitely not a comfortable position. On the other side, MarineLorD still has a respectable army. And he does have a lot of cavalry to work with as well. He can delay Mista here as he's aging up. Now, MarineLorD is very low on gold here, floating a lot of food. So it's kind of caught in between here and needs to be cautious because Mista's army is no pushover either.
Yeah, he's now fixing that, though. He just moved, I think, about 15 workers onto the big gold near his third TC, so that's going to be alleviated soon. I think he also has more workers on the gold at home. It's just the stress of building golems, right? That is taking a little bit away. He is also queuing a lot of upgrades. So while it looks bad for the moment, he can quickly adjust. But he needs to get some trades now. There's a 200 pop. He wants to fight, and he's going to find the trickler reinforcements. It looks like the army was completely out of position here. He will scatter out with the initial horseman. Needs to be careful to not get enveloped with his archers. If we're being
And it's
totally
scary for
real,
MarineLorD. He could be
exactly.
wrapped from behind.
Yeah, but look at what's happening to Mista. That great migration, just a few horsemen to force him away. And you say he can be wrapped from behind, but what's wrapping there, right? It's spearmen and archers. It's not exactly scary for raw archer count that MarineLorD has, especially considering he's got the composite bows. So attacking much quicker than his counterpart here means even the Limitane with the shield wall aren't going to fare that well.
Yeah, the javelin throwers have been focusing the Gulam over here, not the archers. And MarineLorD, he's taking a really good fight over here in a game where he managed to cripple Mista's eco with those horsemen breaking in as well. Mista now
what?
making camel riders, or well, he's getting camel riders, I should say, as mercenaries. Some mangonel towers coming in as well, but this is all just a side hustle here for MarineLorD as he's aging up to Imperial, still picking off so many villagers. 23 eco killed from Mista's side.
There's more coming.
He is down to 100 population here, KP.
Yeah, there's more coming on that eastern flank as well. Like, that never got reward by Mista, so it's not just the first wave, it's the second, third, and fourth I'm worried about. And Mista, I mean, that fight drained him down to 38 military units, most of them being javelins. He doesn't have the breadth or capacity to play wide flank now. Not only that, this tech up, check what MarineLorD went with. He went eco wing. He could have went trade wing. It would have made a lot of sense if he thought this game was going to go late enough due to gold drying up. But this tells us that MarineLorD expects to end this game in the next 5 or 6 minutes because he's going to get a bigger injection via the eco upgrades. He doesn't feel like gold running out is going to be an issue.
He's sitting at 2,000 gold per minute with 2,000 gold in the bank. He's also playing with a very low gold unit composition, only Gulam, archers, horsemen. He's barely consuming gold here, KP. And when he reaches Imperial, he will be able to afford all these upgrades for these units, blacksmith upgrades, as well as the elite upgrades for these troops. Now, this tower should have a mangonel emplacement on it.
Totally
Javelin
balanced.
throwers doing a decent job repelling all these archers, and indeed, it does have a mangonel emplacement.
Yeah, it does a lot of damage, actually. These things are no joke. And forcing the staggered is annoying because it means you can't just remain optimal on gap closing. But even with that static defense, it's kind of moot at this stage. Mista only has wood to play with. His food and gold is an absolute shambles. MarineLorD, meanwhile, about to complete Eco Wing, and he already has enough gold to upgrade everything.
Literally everything, KP. 4,000 gold in the bank, getting all the elites, but Mista isn't going to wait until those kick in. Seeing Imperial Age, he's going to tap out of this game. Moves MarineLorD onto a 2-0 lead in this best of 5.
You know what they say, LidaKor? Consistency is crucial to success in competitive, and it's fair to say that Byzantines have been consistent with their losses.
You're just not a Byzantine enjoyer, right?
I'm helping them out, man. The more I dig into them, the more likely they are to get buffed. I mean, come on. Like, I'm doing them a favor. The interesting thing in that game, though, is like, looking back at it, I like the idea with the Limitane, but we never saw that conversion into like a kill. He never was able to take out the TC. The crazy part as well is like realistically, the military wing from MarineLorD, you could argue whether it done enough. I think it forced the hand of Mista, which is really important. And that's something important to highlight because if you look at it from a raw what he did, it's not apparent, right? Those 4 units didn't really stop much from happening. But in terms of the reaction that Mista made going heavily into range comp, it opened the floodgates for this Horseman Archer Mass to win out. So great read by MarineLorD. He makes it 2 on the board and quite possibly could end up quickly getting us back on track for our schedule here because Mista hasn't found a way to solve MLord yet. My hopes is that MLord is going to actually pull out a new Civ and we might... No, okay, it's not happening.
All right, back to the roots we go. 2 classic civilizations here. Delhi for Rocky River for MarineLorD. Mista opting to go for the Mongols over here. So potential for Dark Age aggression over here. But when you look at MarineLorD, Delhi isn't a pushover either. You get to dock up, your fishing boats will fire arrows, but more importantly, you do have a scholar to heal your spearmen with. And it actually makes me wonder whether MarineLorD is going to play spearmen in Dark Age to try and combat what comes out from Mista, and then use that combat healing to win these fights. He's known for his micro, he loves his micro, and I feel like we could be in for a short game here, KP. This game could even be decided in Dark Age, to be honest.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is going to be like MarineLorD has some more flexibility, and I think if you both go for a dock, right, you have fishing boats that shoot. So if it's dock and then spin with follow up, or the other way around, like the point is that if Delhi ever get that dock up and you're similar spear numbers, their fishing boats participate. They can fight and fish. Mongols don't have that edge. So curious to see how Mister wants to approach this. We could even see something like a fast feudal age. It's not the worst of ideas because Rocky River, it's the love child of Rocky Canyon and Dry River, which means it doesn't only have fish, LidaKor, it also has trade. Mister is a very big lover of those Silver Tree boys.
I am very curious about the trade build here. I feel like it would just be a big flop. I feel like Ghazi Raiders would just nuke that instantly.
Yeah.
But then again, I feel like especially even before this series, we knew that Mista's win condition here isn't going to be a standard series. Mista's win condition felt more like, using the unique features of the new civilizations, bringing out new stuff to surprise MarineLorD. It has not yet worked so far, but going into game number 3, I still believe that he needs to maintain this mindset and bring out something unexpected for MarineLorD to try and surprise him.
We'll see what he's got in mind. Mister's definitely a creative boy. There's a reason we gave him 10. And even to this day with the Mongols, he's been finding slippery new builds and could do exactly that considering this is a different style of map. Dry River and Rocky Canyon combined. And that's why it looks like an absolute mess. In the best of ways. Love to biddle him, but there's just so much going on this map, right? Berries, deer, fishing, the trade posts, the amount of value around those trade posts and the sacred sites. There's plenty of objectives to flex around. One to keep in mind is that if Mister parks well on one of these docks, it might be difficult for MarineLorD to force a win condition of the sacred site timer. So that's at least one thing you can pull away from the Delhi that's otherwise a big edge for them. And interesting opening here. Neither player tried to go into racks. Mister for a moment did drop the stables, but then immediately cancelled it.
Yeah, he went for his own dock on the far western pond. On the adjacent pond, MarineLorD is dropping his. Khan is going to find that villager now getting harassed here a little. But it looks like both players will have a dock going for them. Not a lot of Dark Age aggression coming out when it comes to units. No stable from Mista, as you said. Looks like MarineLorD isn't going to invest into much of an aggression or any kind of land-based force that could protect his docks either. And we could just be in for a quick feudal age here after all. Little chill fishing eco, MarineLorD having his dock up a lot quicker than Mista does. 2 fishing boats out already for MarineLorD as compared to 0 from Mista.
And keep in mind that this is kind of a race for Mister to get his share of the docking areas, because if you ever are second to dock, you're going to lose. Like if he tried to now go and contest MarineLorD's dock, these fishing boats would kill the villager, right? So that's a really frustrating element of Delhi play. It's something we don't talk about as much these days because I feel like we're far past the days where you saw people build like 8 Delhi fishing boats and then rush you because they understood it was inefficient from an economical standpoint. But if you're going to come to them, you can bet your damn ass off they're going to tear a chunk out of you. So looking at the generation as well, this isn't like the worst position for Mister to attempt trade. I think it's still like on the table because although the Ghazi Raider point, I call them Ghazi traders, that's an interesting idea. Although the Ghazi Raiders are a scary element, you also always have to remember by going into trade as the Mongols, you inherently play into Keshiks. And Keshiks do fare reasonably well against Ghazi due to the heal.
For now, a slightly slower start over here, and KP, this is the first time that we're seeing Mista having a slightly slower start in this series. So far in both of the games, he was the early aggressor trying to catch MarineLorD off guard to throw off his build. This time around, this is as standard as it gets from him, and of course from MarineLorD as well.
Yeah, just a little bit of vanilla ice cream. I'm not surprised by that, right? Backs up against the wall, and also you have to keep in mind, compared to some of the other matchups we've seen in the series, you're not exploring as many new grounds. We mentioned this map is different, but the civs, this matchup has happened thousands of times now. Mongols versus Delhi has been seen time and time again. It's not like we're throwing a curveball such as Jean versus Ottomans, where you have to really think about what you're doing and try and find that creative avenue. So We'll have to see what he can do. I almost feel like that maybe there would have been a better map for Mr. to have gotten this type of matchup on. Like maybe some like Himayama, he would have had some more creative ideas because that map is completely different.
Oh, certainly. This one is more on the traditional side of things in many ways. Second dog coming in here for MarineLorD. He's going to be the one expanding a little bit more rapidly on land. Looks like we are going to have a stable opening as Mista is going up the feudal. He hasn't yet spent a lot of his stones, so he's going to be able to afford the double production of a lot of horsemen, or potentially archers if he decides to conserve that stone for a later stage.
Yeah, so this is interesting, actually. Delhi, in high-level play, back on the previous patch, which is fair to compare to, because like, this is basically pre-expansion matchup, they get dominated by Mongols. 38.3% on the ladders. But something to keep in mind is, like, I'd love to see the competitive statistics for that, because something I always highlight that you have to be careful of using, like, public data from, like, AoE4 World, for example, is that Delhi doesn't get played much on the ladder. Players kind of know what they want to do, so they don't want to practice it. In fact, a lot of players kind of felt that like it just does what it says on the can, and it doesn't really need to be innovated because it's so good at it, right? So, although we see a heavily skewed in favor of Mongols matchup, we don't see enough Delhi to truly say that's the be-all, end-all. It looks like, is that going to be stables plus archery range right in the opening? Interesting. Wait, is that marketplace? That is a marketplace.
Hello there.
Where have you been all my
Marketplace coming
life?
in here. What? Yeah, and it's moving to the corner, folks.
Oh,
You
dude,
called
this
it,
is so
KP.
messed
You
up.
call it trade being a thing here for Mista. Now, given that he's going for a stable and a range, I would think that this is going to be a slow build-up of trade, and he's going to prioritize playing into Horseman, or actually Kashik now, supported by some archers, and he's only going to start getting some traders going once he feels like he's actually confining MarineLorD in his base.
This is
Now, the
super
worrisome
smart.
detail here for Mista, I feel, is that throughout these games, he struggled to keep his eco intact. You look back at the Himayama game, he lost a lot of villagers to men-at-arms. Previous game as well, flanks, ram breaking through, horsemen breaking into his eco. MarineLorD was always able to exploit exposed economical units, and I feel like this game could be very similar.
Speaking exposed economical units,
Nice
that's going to be a
find.
nice freebie. Yeah, 2 villagers going down, and she better get the Keshik away. Movement speed arrow not quite fast enough. Ghazi with the Commander Modern Warfare 2 stab range does get the kill. So kind of unfortunately lose the Keshik there. 2 villagers isn't bad, plus the wall being forced. But to your point around like him struggling to defend, the difference here is like in those games, it rippled into a phase where you had to react to defend. This is different in that when you play Mongols, you know when you're doing trade, you have to defend the map. It's just inherently part of the game plan. So I imagine Mister's going to be a little bit more prepped for that. However, he did start going into archers, which is intriguing considering you already see Ghazi coming out from MarineLorD. I think Mister was hoping to kind of scare MarineLorD into spears first when he shoot the Keshiks, but MLord read right through that.
Yeah, and you know, when you're playing Kashik over here, it's a little problematic against the Ghazi Raiders. Ghazi Raiders do get bonus damage against heavy units like the Kashik, so this is one of those setups where Mista's cavalry is vastly inferior compared to what's coming out of MarineLorD.
Yeah, and Keshiks aren't comparative to a knight, right? Like, they're a little bit cheaper, but they have much less health if you compare it to a French knight. So this unit isn't going to fare as well as a knight would against Ghazis, where that matchup, like French can actually kind of stand their own grounds. You also don't have the increased production rate. You just have these bursts of the stone production. But if you can take two good fights, if you can out-micro MarineLorD, and you can keep an even or a lead in terms of Keshik count, you can actually win these type of engagements.
Yeah, for now, Mista's heavy on the archers, only has 3 Kashik on the field with 1 more in queue. But so far, he's been doing a great job keeping track of these Ghazi Raiders. Although some of them are hidden to him. There is 6 on the field for MarineLorD. Mista has only seen 2 of them here in the middle of the field. I don't see many traders coming through just yet, though, so...
It almost feels like he's waiting. Like, he knows he's... Yeah, there we go. First one's coming out because the position now. That was also a great reaction. MarineLorD pulled the fishing boats to the west side here because he saw the archers coming in the stealth forest. Archers that have just been found by the Ghazi Raiders, so that's going to be a freebie. And that should be all archers dead, which means Mista's just going to be raw cavalry versus Ghazi.
Ah, that's so sad for Mista. His eco is very feeble right now. He can't really afford to suffer from significant losses like this. Makes it back to the tower with only 2 archers, but now he is facing 8 Ghazi Raiders and 7 archers from MarineLorD
Oh, no.
with only 5 Keshik of his own.
Okay, that was so fortunate, Mr. Notice. The trader was running straight towards the Ghazi, so he's going to corral him away. Because the issue you now have if you're Mr. is if this trade ever gets spotted and it can't scale, you can't just build Keshiks at the pace you need to. You will get outboomed by MarineLorD because MarineLorD is playing 2 fishing ponds, you're playing 1. He also has the berry gathering rates, right? And something to be mindful of on this map, berries are in abundance. It's insane how many there are on this map. So it's critical for Mr. that he keeps this aggression up and tries to control the mid.
Now, before those archers got caught off guard by the Ghazi Raiders, for a moment Mista had an opportunity to kill the enemy scout. He jumped on it with the Keshik, and he almost got that one scout from MarineLorD. Now, MarineLorD still has that scout going, but I don't think he has seen the market. In fact, I'm fairly certain that he didn't. And here in this game, it's not obvious that Mista is trading. So far, I would be surprised if MarineLorD knew about that trade.
Oh, something to keep in mind, though, even if he doesn't spot that trade, these fights are about to get easier for MarineLorD to take, so there might just be a natural overflow effect. Because look what's coming in. MarineLorD done the blacksmiths, as you typically see out the deli, immediately just researching them for free, right? It's just time it takes. Mista, because he's straining himself now, setting up trade, affording Keshiks, hasn't thought about going for the blacksmiths yet. I think that's actually now being finally dropped, but it does mean that you're going to be 2 techs behind.
Yeah, this is getting worrisome for Mista. He's very cautious building up that trade, but it means that the investment takes a long time to return. And at this point, it's not like Mista is leveraging that trade in any significant way. The value he's getting out of this is just so tiny. And at the same time, as you said, MarineLorD is scaling his army very rapidly. 9 Ghazi Raiders against 9 Keshik, but more importantly, 18 archers with blacksmith upgrades finishing in an instant against only 8 from Mista. I feel like Mista is just getting outpowered, plain and simple here.
He's about to lose the dock. Mista's going to run out of food very fast in this game, because I think he now needs to set up pastures at home. He's at least going to be able to snipe out a Scholar over here. Does have to activate the move speed just to guarantee it, but honestly, losing a Scholar to kill 3 fishing boats and a dock is a trade you take any day of the week here. You've still got gold trickling in from the center.
Mista is in big trouble here. MarineLorD went to capture the sacred site to the south, which is right next to the neutral market. The way that MarineLorD is going to learn about the trade is by this scholar potentially telling the story. Or if it's not the scholar, it's the unit sent to reinforce this scholar before it gets picked.
Well, I don't think that gives it away, right? He needs to see the trade, because like you are going to kill scholars when you see them come for sacred sites. You have to. So
yeah, but you see, cavalry is moving in with a scout accompanying this.
He needs to bait the north. The timing? Oh, no! He sent the Ghazi the other way!
Oh, Mista! The forest was blocking the vision.
It's a secret
my
trader.
lord.
He gets away with murder there. This is critical. Like, Mista, if at any point your opponent realizes the trade has begun, these Ghazi are going to split up to look for clues like they're the Scooby-Doo gang. You can't afford that right now. You need to try and corral him. It's difficult as well because you don't have military mass in your favor necessarily. Spearmen now being added in. They haven't arrived just yet. The Ghazi are going to commit to the clash. The Keshiks should be able to outnumber here. So cavalry should be going down. It's going to force the retreat away, but the archer ship prevents Mista from pursuing. And now with spears being added in, Mista is at risk of becoming too one-dimensional with his army.
Yeah, he does have a terrifying force of Keshik though, and somewhat miraculously, his trade is still unnoticed by MarineLorD, and he's starting to leverage that. I feel like Mista is getting closer and closer to that stage where that trade becomes more realistic, and suddenly, him leveraging that could allow him to start building up a numbers lead. Army value is in his favor despite being outnumbered 2-1 when it comes to the army count. But, as you said, a direct fight against the Spearman is no longer an option. Yeah. Here, you probably are looking for raids at this point for Mista.
And it's like, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal because there's not many traders, but like every little matters right now. Mista is in a losing game, really, if we're being honest here. Like the military mass, the sacred site control, and the fact that MarineLorD is targeting Castle Age means that Mista needs every little bit of gold he can get to get the Keshik count to spook him out of this game. And MarineLorD, you know, as you keep seeing this count increase on the Keshiks, you're seeing him double down on spears. It's critical you keep forcing this if you're Mista while not engaging, because your goal here is to get that trade online gradually. But you know that's not a 1 or 2 minute fixer, that's a 5 or 6 minute plan.
Yeah, there's a second layer to this. It's the fact that if MarineLorD goes up to Castle Age, it takes a lot of time for him to get the Castle Age upgrades. So Mista can punish that. He's building up a force using that trade, and that force will be exceptionally valuable when it comes to punishing MarineLorD for Castle Age. I feel like in many ways, Mista is just waiting for MarineLorD to get to castle here, and the moment he sees that notification, he might just dive the base.
He's getting in position for it. You see these Keshiks are actually getting a little bit more confident with where they're shifting on the map. Now, there is a lot of spearmen out and about, and you can see MarineLorD understands this is not a throw your army in and trade it out. This is a defend your base moment. Compounder Defender is being built. That means he just spent 1,800 resources on something other than an army. It's quality versus quantity. They're about to clash.
Woodline is overchopped, KP.
Uh-oh. And immediately the movement speed arrow goes out, so the chase is on. MarineLorD shifting away with the villagers. I damn well hope he's got textiles here. Delete the wall. Brilliantly identified by MarineLorD. That will scare Mr. away. That detail was clutch. If that wall was still up, he would have kept on going through. He would have seen the tech up, but instead, he's pushed away. The secret is kept.
Yeah, talk about secrets being kept over here. MarineLorD aging up behind this. At the same time, Mista still has that trade going. Does have 31 Keshik now, but
He's
no
upgrading.
direct response to the Ghazi Raiders plus Spearman combination.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at Mister's resource bank. If he doesn't lose these, okay, he's going to try to take a clash now. Needs to be careful. That's going to scare MarineLorD away. But if he keeps 30 Keshiks alive and Castle Ages with 2 TC play behind this in trade, Mr. is far from out of this game. You already highlighted it yourself. MarineLorD has 76 army. We have to negate some of that because of scholars, but the rest of it still needs to be upgraded, and that takes time. Especially considering MarineLorD is probably going to prioritize grabbing the relics with the scholars, which means he's not going to tech fast. I imagine it's probably 2.5 or 3 minutes for these Archer Spear upgrades.
MarineLorD might find the trade in the corner. He's got 3 Spearmen lurking nearby. He's switching direction. He might be just looking for whatever at this point, maybe trying to see if there is any unit on that relic. Can he yoink that potentially? But he still might not be fully aware of that trade. I think he needs to realize something is going on. That's way too many Keshik for a player that doesn't have some sort of an extra resource income. That's way too many Keshik. I think MarineLorD now knows that something is up with Mista.
It's almost like you want to have that TC he placed a bit more aggressive so it does get scouted. I see where you come from here. The scholars are looming around, but this is crazy, the timing on it. Finally, he's going to see it.
Oh
so he
my
knows there's some
lord.
trade.
Talk about a clutch scholar here, finally seeing the trade. But is this too late for MarineLorD now? He is facing a Castle Age player.
Yeah,
down
but
by
it's going
20
to bait
eco.
him. It's going to bait him as well. This is the thing you have to be conscious of. Like, that trade is not big. So now MarineLorD is likely to peel his troops to go looking for more. It's only one he's seen, but there could be 5, 6, 7 more coming down the way. And he can't allow that gold trickle, right? His one advantage at this point is that MarineLorD controls a decent chunk of the map. So realistically, Mista shouldn't have much gold. He should have the one behind his base, the one he's been exhausting since the start of the game. That's difficult to keep going on if you're trying to, like, scale mass Keshiks. So I think MarineLorD is going to try to, like, overreact and block out the trade. But right now, he's the one being blocked out of relics.
I actually doubt that MarineLorD saw it. Like, obviously it was within the line of sight of the scholar, but unless he was looking there specifically, I don't think he saw it. I see absolutely no moves from MarineLorD to deny the trade.
Yeah.
Granted, that trade isn't massive, so it doesn't need to rush this. But there seems to be no indication of him knowing about that trade. Not a single Ghazi Raider sent to harass in that direction. I feel like he might not have actually seen the trader itself.
I wonder if he saw it, but he doesn't, like, want to overreact. Because something to keep in mind is Mr. and Recon, especially back when we had the old trade system, were infamous for this 2-trader build, where they get 2 traders with a silver tree and then rush Castle Age. And they baited a lot of people into overreacting. I wonder if MarineLorD is just conscious of that as well. So instead, he's like, okay, I know it's not going to be mass trade, because I would have seen more of it by now. I would have seen it in the tech timing. I would have seen it in the army mass. Now, that army is still big, by the way. Like, I think it's hard for Mr. to take a fight directly at the moment, but if he's able to layer in, like, a bunch of archers here, 43 Keshiks will stomp these engagements.
Especially when you have the Kurultai as well. And don't forget, the Keshik do get healed as they fight. Combine it with the Kurultai and you get something terrifying here. And yeah, I agree with you. I think, in many ways, that trade is a bait. If MarineLorD ever moves to take that trade out, suddenly Mista can dive his base with 45 Keshik, but instead, Mista finds an opportunity to place his Kurultai on the front line, and that keep gets denied. And not a single spearman to be found here, KP. Beautiful opportunity for Mista to take this fight.
Because they were chasing north side. Mr. sent 1 or 2 Keshiks up there and baited the main army up there. Keshik's now diving towards the keep. That should get denied again. Wraparound opportunity here. Spearman not able to engage, but the defense arrow does come out. And he split up the engagement here. Castle's not being rushed. There's just too many Keshiks in the area. The Kurultai has moved forward as well, and that buff is overwhelming. Mista with 40 Keshiks to the party and not enough spears. MarineLorD is in deep water right here with no way of floating.
Oh my lord, this is just so bad for MarineLorD. The keep is going to finish most likely, but it's going to cost way too many villagers to finish. So many villagers fall, all the archers gone. MarineLorD dropping way too quickly in population, down below 100 now.
I mean, that's going to be a flood through, right? The villagers might be safe inside that keep, but what about their brothers, their mothers, and their sisters? There's too many people and not enough places to hide. GG gets called. Finally, Mista is able to strike back.
This is a big game here for Mista. First of all, it's a morale booster. It gives him hope going into game number 4. But it's also something that could be immensely valuable in a tiebreaker scenario, even if he loses this set. Such a valuable win here for Mista. And this is where we see that sometimes these games come down to very tiny details. That trade was undiscovered for so long. MarineLorD thought he's got a good position, a safe position that is. Little did he know that Mista leveraged that second TC and the trade to get a massive flood of Kashyyyk out and then force a single decisive fight. What a lovely game from Mista. Just goes to show why he's getting that 10 out of 10 for the creativity score.
Yeah, and let's talk about that creativity in the traders, because I know there's some people with some opinions on this trade. The trade actually does matter, and here's why. I alluded to it a little bit, but Recon and Mista were actually masters of doing this build where they would just go 2 traders, their opponent would react as if they're full-fledged trading, and they just rush Castle H. The whole logic behind the trade and why it's so important in that game is if it does get discovered, it forces this weird reaction out of MarineLorD where he has to consciously assume it's mass trading. In the early phases, 1 or 2 is just nice to bolster 1 or 2 extra Keshyyyk here or there. But the whole idea is there's always this false information that actually Mista is renowned for. Anyone who's actually watched him for more than like 2 weeks knows this guy will regularly come into games and do things to throw you off. Whether it's a dock drop that does nothing, whether it's a marketplace that he never produces out of, or one of my favorites that he does more frequently than anyone else, starts building a racks, cancels it, starts building a stables instead. These type of little mind games are something that Mista thrives on, and that's what the point of the trade was. It wasn't necessarily a case of, oh my god, he's mass trading with 3 traders. It's that, oh my god, MarineLorD sees those traders and then has to react as if it is mass trade, which could put him out of position. But regardless of that, fantastic game from Mista. He strikes back, and now he's starting to get the gist of it. He says, if MLorD isn't going to play new civs, screw it, neither am I.
Going into Dry Arabia, as classic as it gets, this is actually the second home map of MarineLorD. One thing to note is that Mista opted to take Rocky River, which was a home map for MarineLorD for game number 3, now taking Dry Arabia. So if he ends up winning this game, the decider game, game number 5, would be played on his home map, Gorge.
Gorge with, let's see what he's got there. I mean, French is kind of okay. Mr. English is really, I think English is like one of the best civs for Gorge, in my opinion. They're very strong, a lot of safe wood, a lot of exposed resources for you to exploit. So wouldn't be surprised if we get English there to try and round it out. MarineLorD, considering what's left for him, I don't know if he wants to go towards a new civ. He still has plenty in reserve of the olds that he could go towards. I wonder HRE can maybe work. Maybe he goes English as well. We'll just have to see on that one. We need to get through this one first. But there's no denying that this is going to be kind of an uphill battle. Rus are a very dominant force in most matchups on any map. And Dry Arabia is kind of like, it's bread and butter for them, right? There's some very strong timings. It's kind of curious to see what Mista in particular has in mind to solve the Rus issue.
Looks like we just have a tiny bit left to go, 1.5 minutes. Mista coming in with a big win here in game number 3. And this one is an intriguing matchup here. We've seen how the Ottomans can dominate matchups, especially when you give them time. And one thing that was very noticeable in this entire series is that MarineLorD was willing to give time for Mista, and that could be problematic against the Ottomans. Now, it's possible that MarineLorD is going to change things up here, and for the first time in this series, play a little bit more aggressively with the Rus.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's a lot of capability there, like just kind of spamming a few knights here or there. Sipahi aren't that bad at dealing with knights, right? Because you can get the ability for your second wave to stab in. They're quite a bulky unit with high base damage. We'll see how Mista wants to play. It could be a fast castle build out of him. It could be a fast castle build out of both of them. I do see a bunch of subs coming in, by the way. Big shout out to PM303 with the 20 just dropped. King Smurf before that with the 10 gifted as well. Keep the support coming. I know EGC absolutely love and adore the support you guys give every day. If you haven't as well, and you're just someone sitting there right now thinking, I want to support. Obvious one, Prime subs. Feel free to drop them. But someone that definitely goes a long way as well, because EGC gets more of a share of it is Patreon. So if you have got a few bucks to throw their way, go across to the Patreon, support them today. There's a lot of little perks in there to make it worthwhile for you. If we do manage to crack that 1,000 subscriber mark, that's going to force Pesty's hand. He's going to have to make an EGC LAN happen. So why don't you go ahead and make sure he has to remortgage the house by joining the Patreon today?
All right, just a couple of seconds left to go here, indeed, as it is being spammed in the chat. Helping us is, a great way to get some additional events for next year. I know that a couple of things are probably being cooked up for next year as well. So if you want to support that effort, then Patreon is a great way to do so. Do so through, I guess. We're heading into game number 4 here, folks. Only the second set of the day so far. Rus for MarineLorD, Mista with the Ottomans. I don't know what to expect here anymore, KP. MarineLorD looked very strong in this series, but Mista, he's probably getting a lot of boost from this previous game, and I could see this going all the way to the end.
I would love nothing more than a day fully fatted out with 5-game series. Let's see if Mista's able to make it happen, though. We just saw an amazing showing with his Mongols on Rocky River. We now hop into Dry Arabia, where the Ottomans have to face off against what is seen as the competitive strong boy of the year. However, Ottomans have been rising in the rankings, especially with some of those cheeky great bombards if we get to that late game. Let's see if we can make it happen. Game number 4. Dry Arabia in the blue. Mista's going to be playing as the Ottomans. MarineLorD on the other side in the red as the Rus.
Yeah, he is in command of the Rus over here. Now, of course, with the Rus, bounty is always a thing over here, and he opens up with the deer patch that is closer to Mista. Haven't seen where Mista's scout is at, but so far this start looks pretty reasonable for MarineLorD, because Mista's scout was a little late to the party. He's just now moving out of his base, and he actually, he took out one of the Huns, so that's all right. But looks like all the other deer will fall into the hands of MarineLorD.
Can we check like the vision? Because it's really important to start the game to see what the scouting pattern's going to be. MarineLorD, of course, is already, he's going super wide, so hasn't checked that southern corner. I think what he's trying to do is sniff out where Mr. Scout is. And dude, is this guy got like Spidey instincts? Because if he now wraps south, he'll still get a decent amount of sheep. It's not that bad if you don't, because you do have the Madrasa to insulate you. But at the same time, if the Rus get their hands on a crap ton of sheep, they can afford to spam more knights into your face. So we'll see if he makes the right read. If he does this right, he might get a glimpse of MarineLorD as he runs near the TC. But I think MLord is intentionally just hiding from this. And it looks like, actually, considering the way that Mista's moving his scout, this is not only going to be the deer going the way of MarineLorD, it should be all the sheep in that corner. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, a lot of wolves available here as well for MarineLorD, so definitely a good start for him, as Mista is getting some spearmen going through the military schools. Now, with the Rus, it's always intriguing, because the moment they have the gold that they need for Feudal Age, they just don't care about anything else. Their base is super condensed. In fact, most of the gold that they need for Feudal Age plus Wheelbarrow usually comes from Bounty, unless they're very unsuccessful collecting it. So really, it's difficult to pressure them early on, because their base is just going to be so condensed.
Yeah, and it's like he's got the final deer stack, so he's definitely going to get what he needs. This seems like I want to say like a 260 bounty game, something around there. And there's still wolves to be cleaned up. So MarineLorD's going to be very cozy with this. Imagine we're going to be looking at the Kremlin. Probably a Kremlin drop on the fort just because it's right next to the stone, and we know that the natural flow is to go 2 TC for a lot of Rus players. Looking at the spawn as well, that second TC would be beautiful on the deer stack he just cleared. It would make sure Sipahi can't gank him on the south side, and then he can easily wall the north side, which would just give him a completely unharassable economy.
Twin Minaret coming in from Mista on the other side. Kremlin, no surprise on either side. It's very condensed Kremlin, very different from what we have seen from B in the previous series, actually, which was just essentially a tool of expansion towards food. And it looks like MarineLorD wants to go for a second TC over here. He is working his way towards that stone mine. We'll have a very condensed base, making it very difficult for Mista to pressure those stone miners.
Like, it's kind of interesting, right? Like, you look at this spawn for the Rus and you'd be like, oh, that's so open. Like, how does he defend himself? But generally, these 2 TC builds that come naturally, and the fact that the Gremlins can defend those greedy placements makes it very hard for Mista to stop him. little bit of an argument over who gets to get the puppy in the divorce, but I think MarineLorD brought friends, so yeah, he'll be taking the dog home with him. So you get another one. Oh, dude, that's so much gold. That's enough for an initial night. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see a stable drop coming out from MarineLorD at the beginning of their feudal age. Like, he's up against spears, sure, but if you look at the way the spawn's gone, like, Mr. has a lot of exposed resources. Gold and stone is not safe.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's got a lot of wood in the bank as well, despite not having a lot of stones. So if he wants to use that up a little earlier than just dropping the town center, then indeed getting a stable going, getting one knight out is a way to do this. But instead, it looks like he's just going to focus on the eco, getting double broadaxe. He's heavy on the stone too. Now the question is, can Mista limit his expansion here? Mista is the only player with any kind of combat capabilities right now. He's probably looking to try and deny the optimal town center spot on those deer packs.
I think, like, from this position, the issue is now there's gremlin points, and the issue is when maybe you try to take a fight close to your opponent's base, he'll strong arm you. So you might be able to delay the TC timing, but I don't think you can block it. Like, you already see the Spearman and prepping for it. I think he knows exactly where this TC is likely to go. Like, out of all the logical places MarineLorD wants to drop it, it should be between the gold and the deer, right there.
Yeah, that is by far the most optimal spot there. You do have the scout to body block as well, so it makes it difficult for MarineLorD to drop that TC. And
oh wow,
boy, he's going to have
this
a
is
very
free TC
condensed space here.
Yeah, it's free TC. Okay.
Yeah, he's going to play 3 TCs here, indeed, because he still has that on the stone. But one thing that could be concerning for MarineLorD in the long run is access to food. He's fine for the time being, but normally you like your second town center to be dropped close to a food source so that you have no issues with long-term sustainability when it comes to the food eco.
The thing to keep in mind here is, like, this would be bad if you weren't going free TC, because, like, I mean, it's obviously Arcs and Stone. Like, it's all about that deer. So I think he's generally going to be playing for that. I can't, like, he got a decent amount of sheep, right? But I can't see him trying to sustain life on free TC without the deer locked in. Like, typically, your additional TCs have to yield something. In fact, the nerfs around TC build times and cost were targeted at stopping people getting that for free. But because of the gremlins, the Roost is still one of the civs that always does get it more or less for free.
Yeah, for now, Mista is focusing on eco upgrades himself, and he wants a second TC too. Pushes away the scouts just in time to prevent MarineLorD from seeing this. Now, I think MarineLorD has seen the stone, so he should know that the second TC is in the making for Mista.
Yeah, and then on the other side, like, Mista himself has gone for that second TC on the deer. I don't expect him to try and, like, match this. Like, I always find when it turns into a whizzing contest with a Roost on TC count, you lose. I expect MarineLorD to stop it free. This is not your Abbasid play, but it means that you can actually surge quite easily towards Castle Age as well, because I imagine you got the tier 2 bounty, right? After that, wouldn't be surprised if he opens with a few archers just to defend. This doesn't feel like a night game. What is he doing to my brain? Like, he's still not going for the deer. I think he's actually just kind of reading what Mister's doing, right? Because Mister's spears should be heading south side. So he's just trying to avoid the issue. Now, if he plays mass archers, he can kind of afford this. If he starts adding in more than, like, 1 or 2 stables, I think he's going to run out of food.
Yeah, I don't know, KP. I feel very weird about this for MarineLorD. In many ways, he's just responding to what MarineLorD is, or to what Mista is giving him. But in many ways, MarineLorD is doing a lot of suboptimal things right now, simply because Mista is forcing his hand. Now, for the time being, he's going to be fine, but, you know, Mista, we talked about this. If this game goes long, Ottomans are a juggernaut, especially in that mid-late Castle Age stage. Mista is also going to be on 2 TCs with a powerful eco. He does have Hunt, unlike MarineLorD. And now he's also going to have some walls up, so MarineLorD is going to have a limited opportunity to punish him at this point. He's just now starting to mix in archers. He does have a stable as well. Honestly, I think Mista is in a great position here.
Yeah, the bounty system for MarineLorD should be helping a little bit on the food, but it's still not making up for the difference. You always have to remember that Madrissa is a big booster alongside the deer, because the Madrissa allows you to gather quicker from those berries than you normally would from berries. Honestly, from this position, I think Mista could realistically just go for Castle Age, and it wouldn't be the worst of ideas. Because now trying to dent free TCs is a bit difficult, considering that, you know, he hasn't already started speeding into archers, right? which makes a lot of sense. It's kind of a weird matchup because you feel you can just win Archer Masses because you have passive production, you have meta. But on the flip side, the Rus have 20% more wood than you do, which always makes it a bit tricky.
Ooh, Rules will be incomplete here. The scouts will find this and just body block it. Mista actually called off his villager as well, but here comes the Sipahi. So he should be able to finish these walls eventually. And it looks like now MarineLorD wants to turn things on here. Triple ranges. That's fine for the time being. He doesn't need a lot of food to mass archers, and he does have a massive lumberjacking bonus. But eventually, as you mentioned, he needs to start moving towards other food sources. Whereas for Mista, it looks like he's working his way towards Castle Age now.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about what MarineLorD done here is like he reacted to the amount of sheep he got. If he got less sheep, he would have had to have gone for the deer. But because he has so many, I think he still has like, I want to say 10 underneath his TC at least. That's a lot of food. And because he's mainly archer production, it's not a big strain on his economy, so he's able to afford the TCs. Yeah, like he's clubbed down at least 5 there. There's an extra 3 on top of it. Then he's got the berries on the front side. So like he won't run out of food too quickly here due to his comp, but he might run out of time because of that castle age you mentioned. I think from this type of position, like maybe get 2 or 3 knights, but don't go overboard here because your army isn't really big enough to stop Mista before he hits CA.
Yeah, this is the problem right now for MarineLorD. His army is nowhere close to being able to punish the Castle Age from Mista. But once Mista gets to Castle Age, he does, of course, have the Mehmed Imperial Armory, allowing him to get some siege weapons on the field. He is going to unlock Janissaries eventually, Lancers, Men-at-Arms. Suddenly, MarineLorD's position is going to be very underwhelming in a game where he is still very much limited when it comes to accessible food. And Mista knows this. Mista knows fully well that his pressure point is going to be this hunt to the south.
Good micro there, actually, just attacking with the villages so the knight didn't get braced again. So he's now going to access those deer. It's very hard now for Mista to just aggress that, though, because if MarineLorD ever feels threatened, he can just wall over towards his main base, right? He's already walling on the backside, but we can see Mista did sneak some of the Sipahi rounds. He's about to backstab from the east side, and I'm wondering where MarineLorD's army is sitting. If they're sitting right next to the gold, they should be able to react to the Deer's Pack in time.
Yeah, I think MarineLorD is doing the right thing here. He needs to wall himself up, secure this source of food for him. Rus is no pushover in late game either, and with 3 TCs, you can get to that stage very, very quickly. It's just a matter of surviving against this initial Ottoman onslaught that you will have to face once these military schools really start pumping out these Castle Age premium units.
So 3 TC versus 2. We always have to remember the Ottomans get a huge boost up in their passive production. So, like, they're actually kind of comparative right now. What's going to matter in the next 2 minutes is how the relics fare. As it looks, Mista should easily have 1. I'd say fairly easily 2. The others are up for grabs, so it's really important these Sipahi don't die. They're there to kind of patrol the mid-ground relics, which I say are mostly the southern ones, because his main army should be able to contest center.
Yeah, I think the 2 in the center should, in theory, fall into Mista's hands. It would be quite a fumble if he lost out on either of those. And then he has the 1 at the back, he can leave that lost. High Trade House on the way for MarineLorD. He's not going to lag behind much when it comes to Castle Age timing. Rushing it up with 17 wheels in a lovely spot. A lot of trees nearby. And MarineLorD, I expect him to drop a monastery immediately and at least try to grab some of the relics over here, mainly the ones to the south of his base.
Well, that's a free beef he wants. So appeals 1 knight to deal with the villager. Nice spot there, as it looks like there were walls coming in from Mista. Interesting wall as well, like, because I'm pretty sure he... Did he draw that wall through the relic? It looks like it was.
I think it's right next to the relic.
I don't trust those walls any. Okay, yeah. Very, very much right next to the relic. I've seen a few players have a whoopsie with that type of interaction, as the new walls basically kiss the relic. But 2 knights are going to find their way, and that's going to be a lot of idle time. Critical to try and keep that gold number down, as we can see Mista's getting heavy into the upgrades right now. Meanwhile, upgrades now kicking in from MarineLorD, spears and knights to be made Castle Age units soon. And he is fully walled in at home, so this is really good for MarineLorD because the last thing he needs in a position like this is to have to worry about counter-offensives. Those walls guarantee he doesn't.
He's getting a lot of value for his knights, and this is a great distraction, making sure that Mista cannot fully focus on grabbing the relics. He's willing to sacrifice these 2 knights to just distract Mista and slow down this expansion towards the relics.
Yeah, and it just takes so long to kill them, right? Heavily armored unit, decent health pool. Sapai do hit hard, but really not hard enough. And it's the idle time that they're achieving. It's not just they're keeping army busy, but they keep forcing shuffles like this. Even if they don't get kills, the time that's wasted of Mista adds up to the cost of these knights. And still one
Mista
lives.
is down by 20 eco, but of course it does have that passive production. Janissary is in queue now for Mista as well. He does have a lot of stone to work with too. 500 in the bank right now. Not a lot of food, not a lot of wood to work with though. And only one relic garrison so far.
Yeah, and the one on the north side is guarded, so it looks like this could still be a free relic game for MarineLorD. Second Warrior Monk is on the way. I think he might have a Knight on that northern one, and Warrior Monk's about to grab it. So the issue I now see is Mista isn't in position to take those two southern relics. He's fully focused in his own base in north side, so I think this is going to end up with 3 relics going home with Daddy M-Lord.
Yeah, that would be a big loss for Mista. He had a lot of Sipahi that were just essentially trying to play catch-up game to these knights inside Mista's base, instead of trying to roam the map and maybe intercept one of those warrior monks. MarineLorD is actually hugging the edge of the map to the north as he's bringing that relic back, and Mista just apparently gives up on that relic. He's now heading to the south. Might actually be rewarded with the warrior monk that's heading to that relic that's exposed.
Go. Now, that army that's responding on the southern side from Mista isn't exactly big. Dude, even when these knights don't seem like they're killing anything, I want people to be conscious of that one knight just distracted about 22 population.
Yeah, and Mista missed out on the warrior monk. He actually missed on the warrior monk that's going for the more contested relic, the one that Mista is supposed to grab here.
Oh boy.
He actually went for the other relic, the safest, closest to MarineLorD. But because of this, MarineLorD might be able to get away with that third relic from the middle of the field.
If this goes line formation, he'll be able to surround here. And actually, it's turned into a little bit of a concave, so run out of space to run here. MarineLorD doesn't shift south ahead of this, though, so Spy will be able to get out of this. However, they will not be able to guard the relic, so it is going to be that 3-2 relic split in favor of MarineLorD. He's not just happy with that. He says, I want even more gold. It's time for Puma to die.
Oh man, losing out on relics here is just such an underwhelming Castle Age so far for Mista. He really was in a position to at least secure the majority. It's not catastrophic, he's down by just a relic, but this could have been a lot better for him, you feel?
Yeah, I think like the tough one here is he hit this Castle Age and it was kind of like, what's next? And because he hadn't walled ahead of time, what was next was dancing around your own base for about 2 minutes. That's a big weakness in your build, right? If your goal here was fast castle advantage, 2 minutes was your castle advantage. So at that point, you're just eco behind, right?
Yeah, and we gotta credit MarineLorD though. With only a handful of units, he was able to distract Mista for so long that he was able to secure the majority of the relics, despite being about 2 minutes later to Castle Age than his opponent.
And now we have to talk about like the comps that come out on both sides, because I think the Rus feel a little bit stronger at this stage. Like, let's say they shifted into cavalry, boys fortitude. They don't want to do that though, right? They're up against mass janissaries, so they just kind of keep edging archer crossbows, which they can afford with all these relics, these high trade houses, and the amount of wood they get. It's a very healthy comp for them, and all you need to do is accompany that with very cost-efficient spears, and all of a sudden, Mista's entire army comp doesn't have a clear target, right? Spearmills are also easy to get into for the Rus because they have additional wood income compared to other civs, so he already has the counter to the mangonels.
And MarineLorD might have been thinking about Imperial Age here, piling up all those resources. And
boy.
Mista might hit a perfect timing here. He's got 19 Janissaries on the field. Not something that MarineLorD has a good answer to.
Yeah, and right now he's just kind of dead weight throwing away troops here. Backstab's going to come into Sapar. They're going to find a way towards the Spear as well, but they can't quite find it in time. The Spears block him out. The follow-up is good, though. Anti-Siege is gone. Mangonels are pushing, and MarineLorD may have misread this situation. He's still holding on to a lot of food here. Hasn't set up more Raxes, is running out of wood. He's trying to fix that now, but a lot of ground is going to be given over, and Mista can feel the advantage building.
Oh my lord. Could we see a reverse sweep here? That's the big question. The last time that Mista was able to beat MarineLorD in a series in AoE 4 was all the way back at the release of the game in Genesis. And boy, oh boy, he's looking strong in this game. He could take this all the way to game number 5.
Genesis wasn't far off when this tournament's been happening, if you look at it on the calendar at least, and this is starting to feel like that Mista. A lot of gold in reserve, needs to rebalance that macro a little bit because the high armory is on the way. MarineLorD is still playing greedy. Can he get away with it though? Supply count is reasonable, but not insanely high. So this dive through might not do enough damage. Mista still has to go through the TC, still has to go through the Kremlin, and we've only just seen the Gremlins coming out. So that's going to be a front line for a while. MarineLorD, did he just cancel it? He just canceled the tech up.
Oh, my lord. That could be his undoing here. I feel like Imperial could have actually helped a lot, but now he's stuck with a bunch of food and gold in the bank, and it takes time until he gets units out for those. Units that will get picked off instantly as they spawn.
MarineLorD, I mean, he was caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and Mista has specific rules in the house. Hand gets caught, hand comes off, and MarineLorD looking at risk here. Is going to be forced to garrison everything. The static point defense is going to be good against the Janissary, but he's starting to be idled out. Food income is going to start to plummet. And behind this, Mista still has a lot more units flooding across the field. The question mark, though...
shot by MarineLorD.
And this is where he forced the retreat. Now, this is the question mark I had. That's a lot of Janissaries, not much melee. You have nothing right now that deletes the building. So these strong point defenses are holding on for MarineLords. You need to do more.
Well, he is picking off a lot of villagers, though. MarineLorD's eco is slowly getting picked apart. In fact, he's not even reacting to these gold miners being picked off one by one. 150 population against 150 here, but MarineLorD has been cut off from all accessible safe gold.
And although he has got 3 relics, although he has got a sacred site, and he has got that high trade house, that gold only goes so far when you have to get into siege and you have to get into more crossbows. Extra tech upgrades are coming through. Mista is happy with the damage he's done for the moment. He will be forced back, but that means MarineLorD gets critical time to breathe, critical time to recover, and both of them now sitting on a lot of gold, but not the food they need to think about Imperial.
Yeah, MarineLorD is given a lifeline over here because momentum is starting to fade here for Mista. Just not enough food to work with. Mista just bought a bunch of food here with all the gold that he had in the bank. Does have a lot of stone as well, but not enough for a keep. He cannot just drop a keep in the face of MarineLorD to facilitate this push even more. But he's still the one fighting under the enemy town centers, shutting down a lot of MarineLorD's food eco.
Yeah, and these Janissaries, though, they are getting sniped by the TC. That's really important. That's why MarineLorD prioritized that level 2 ranged upgrade. These Janis not able to stand there for long. The issue that's happening right now, Mista's doing a phenomenal job of baiting these spearmen out. The problem is he's eventually forced to engage, and the Sipahi numbers are suffering for it. Both of them just looking like wounded dogs right now. The difference, however, MarineLorD has huge reserves. Look at what just happened to Mista. He went from 2,000 gold to 450 and no food to speak of.
This is what I was afraid of, seeing Mista buying all that food. It made me feel like he wants to finish this game right here, right now. But as you said, MarineLorD has such a vast reserve of resources that he's able to hold on. And if he keeps taking fights like this, Mista is going to start running out of juice. This is a beautiful wrap, though. Does jump on the archers, actually picks off a Mango now, most likely. Springgold also low in HP. Good fight for Mista, but he doesn't have the tools to push underneath those town centers with.
No, it's the Springald still being alive that's the problem, because now this Archer match just gets to rebuild. Mista really needs to try and find a way into Siege Workshop, get some extra siege bump in, because he's so reliant on these mangonels, but it feels like so often that they are rebutted away. Great initial assaults, but every single assault afterwards has looked worse and worse and more grim as the Mango goes down. And now military mass is favoring MarineLorD. He's starting to swell. 4,000 gold in the bank. If he wanted at this stage, he could buy that tech up. He could drop a Spasskaya tower and he could middle finger Mista out of this series. But MarineLorD, he's in no rush. He realizes that right now, he's in the driving seat.
And he's been using archers, cheap units against those very expensive Janissaries for the last few minutes, now takes out the Rams as well. This combination of mass spearmen and archers is not something that Mista had a response to. His Sipahi plus Janissary combination is way too expensive to sustain fights like this. He needs his own men-at-arms, or he needs his own archers here, but his momentum has shrunk, and as you said, now MarineLorD can buy Imperial Age. I would not be shocked about the Spasskaya Tower here, KP. That is something that would essentially ensure that Mista cannot punish an Imperial Age anymore.
I mean, he'd only need to do it if he was losing ground. Now that he's just pushed him entirely out of his base, this is high armory. There's no hesitation, right? You want the rubber banded triggers because then you can just always counter out the Great Bombards if that eventually somehow happens. But let's be real about this. Mista's about to drop a keep and pray it's enough to keep the demon at bay. But MarineLorD isn't one so easily contained. Army's marching forward. Food's about to come in. An Imperial Age will be on the way.
Yeah, that keep from Mista could have been an offensive keep 5 minutes ago. Now it's going to be a desperation keep against a player going into Imperial.
What do you do from here? Now Mango showing up for red. His MarineLorD can kind of hold these Janissaries hostage, trying for the surround, but I love this. The Sacred Site is body blocking half of this fight, so siege advantage is going to remain for MarineLorD. Charge is now going to come through, but the Mangonel shifts deeper into the staggered formation. And even if you win this fight, I'm worried about what's coming behind. MarineLorD just got what he needs in the bank to go Imperial. He still hasn't clicked it, though. And it's finally on the way. High Armory is going to be the choice, and considering how small Mista's army is going to be after this, I don't know how he stops it.
Yeah, I feel like Mista has an army to hold this position, but he doesn't have what it takes to break into the enemy base. So Mista is going to face attack disadvantage now, and MarineLorD is floating so much gold that he can get all the upgrades he needs instantly.
Jeez. 5k gold? This guy's about to move to Switzerland and open up his own bank. This is getting ridiculous, and it's going to keep swelling, right? Like 1,000 gold income, rather. And how many people has he got working on gold? Maybe like, I want to say 10, 12? He's got a lot of passive income via the high trade house, via the hunting cabins, via the free relics. This boy is cozy. I wouldn't be surprised if we're immediately going to see like a swelling of Streltsy, at which point this Janissary are about to be heavily discounted.
Yeah, Mista has to move towards a large gold vein as well, something that is clearly spotted by MarineLorD. Mista should be able to get this keep going, though.
I mean, it's one upside, right? At least you've got gold in the bank for yourself, but my bigger concern for Mista, as it has always been for the last 3 or 4 minutes, is food. 2k food income, but it never feels like it.
Yeah, I think he was in the middle of a farm transition. I think part of the reason why his push stalled out is because he had to start mixing in farms. And MarineLorD still had that hunt going, and of course he does have a crazy wood income, so for him a farm transition wasn't as detrimental.
Keep on the north side is not going to be taken out by these rams. Sipahi did get forced away. Little raid into the south side, though. These Sipahi could do a lot of damage if they realize it, as the villagers have moved out into dangerous territory. But we're getting to dangerous territory for Mista right now. Upgrades are coming in. It's going to be the upgraded Spearmen. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see the Men-at-Arms prioritized next, because actually at this stage, they're pretty damn effective even against those Janissaries. Even just the Mangonels, right? Just getting all the techs in on them. I think, like, where is the High Armory, right? He put it on the front side, so he'd be able to get any siege involved in the fights very quickly.
At this point, killing villagers actually hurts Mista. MarineLorD has such a large resource bank, and he's 200 out of 200 population. Every villager he loses gets replaced with army that will help overwhelm Mista, a player that's still stuck in Castle Age.
And he's trying to find a way out, but the problem is you're going to be forced to trade army again. And the moment that happens, that bank he's now building up of 1.3k food, 1.2k gold, instantly has to go into the reproduction. This is the tough position you find yourself in when you start to forfeit ground like this. MLord has slowed down a bit. I did notice that he's gone in for the lightweight beams and the wandering town, so it looks like we're going to start getting some ram spam going. Makes a lot of sense, because if Mista wants to high buy and keeps, it's no better civ to get them out of the way than the Rus.
Well, Mista wants to get back into this game, though he's going to be on the way to Imperial in a second. But as much as we've seen this in the previous games, a player that is going up to the next stage could be easily punished by a player going for an all-out push. Same applies over here. Mista is on the way to Imperial, and that's a great window for MarineLorD to finish this game.
Look at this. Castle gets discovered being built up. So MarineLord's going to dive into that. He says, Divide, let's take it. Castle looking like it might not get up. More villagers going to be pulled to make sure it does. Second wave of spearmen are coming in, though. This is going to be a tight one. If the castle doesn't go up, there might be a flood through. Istanbul Observatory is only half complete. Janissaries, have they arrived in time? Sipahi are gone. Village is going to tap it, and it looks like the castle will just about get up in time. That's going to be a critical defense to slow down this flood.
Oh, the cost to pay was massive on that castle, but it does go up here. Helps out a little against this aggression. Mista retains 30 Janissaries. He's getting the elite upgrades for them, but his population is still looking underwhelming. 152 against 200. And now that he's an Imperial, MarineLorD knows that he needs to push before those upgrades come in.
These Jannies, man, they're just getting shredded by the Spearmen. It's just an overwhelming force of firepower here. Upgrades are coming through, but losing this many definitely stings. The main wave has arrived, so that should at least reset things temporarily. But behind this, more Streltsy coming. Chemistry is being queued up. 3 Staxels as well. And the Rams are being queued. MarineLorD is ready to demolish this base.
And we're still seeing Sipahi here, KP, against 42 Spearmen. Something that hasn't really worked for Mista here. 36,000 resources value destroyed against 25,000. The inefficiency has been just baffling on Mista's side.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like his Spearman maybe is a better call. Feels like he wants that flexibility, but it feels like he is done. Game 4 will go to MarineLorD. The series will be his. Not bad for an 80 Bunty boy.
Well, Mista had an opportunity for this game, but, you know, this is one of those games where we just had too many things going bad for him. Starting from the fact that he wasn't able to secure the majority of the relics despite having that castle age advantage. He wasn't able to shut down MarineLorD's food eco despite having a decent position there, but ultimately, that relentless push he pushed MarineLorD with, it never he never was able to capitalize on it. He lost way too many Janissaries, and he never was able to fully recover afterwards.